There's a liquid that costs less than $1 per cup, and it kills every single weed in your yard permanently. Not slows growth, not wilts the leaves for a few days. It destroys the entire plant structure within 24 hours. And it never touches your grass because you control exactly where every single drop lands. This is one of the oldest agricultural secrets in human history, and it has been sitting in your kitchen cabinet this entire time. Researchers at Cornell University tested this exact compound against every major commercial herbicide sold in stores today. The results embarrassed a $19 billion lawn care industry that has spent decades selling you something far more expensive. Farmers used this compound to clear fields for over 2,000 years before synthetic weed killers ever existed. Roman agricultural records describe it as the compound that clears land without ever poisoning the soil underneath. Then, a massive chemical industry made a very deliberate decision. They decided you should never learn how simple and how cheap this actually is. They did not stop using it because it failed to work. They stopped talking about it because $1 cannot compete with a $40 bottle you have to buy every single month. This is the story of the weed killer they quietly buried, and the yard care industry that prayed you would never trace it back. Welcome to Vault Breaker. This is where we open every single vault that billion-dollar industries paid good money to lock shut. If this knowledge matters to you, subscribe and ring the bell right now, because what you're about to learn changes how you look at every dandelion in your yard forever. Go back to ancient Rome more than 2,000 years ago, when Roman farmers documented a very specific process for clearing unwanted growth from farmland without damaging the soil for future crops. They used concentrated vinegar, made from fermented wine that had turned sour, applied directly onto unwanted plants. The naturalist Pliny the Elder recorded this exact practice in his agricultural writings from the 1st century. He described vinegar as a compound that dissolves the very structure of a weed from the outside in, working faster under direct sun. The Romans did not understand the underlying chemistry behind why it worked so well. They understood the result, and the result was reliable enough to become standard farming practice across the empire. Every weed touched by concentrated vinegar collapsed and died within a single day under strong summer sun. This knowledge did not disappear after Rome fell. It traveled quietly across centuries and across continents. Colonial American farmers used this exact same method, applying strong vinegar directly to weeds growing between their crop rows using a simple hand brush. Farming journals from 1790 document vinegar as the standard accepted method for controlling weeds without harming nearby vegetable plants. Victorian-era gardening manuals from 1860 described the exact same technique, recommending strong vinegar for pathways, driveway cracks, and garden borders. This was not a fringe or experimental method. It was mainstream, accepted agricultural knowledge passed down through generations of farmers who trusted results over marketing. But here's what changed everything, and what the chemical industry has spent 70 years making absolutely certain you never connected. In 1945, synthetic herbicides entered mass commercial production for the very first time in human history. Chemical companies could now patent an exact formula and control manufacturing, control distribution, and control pricing in a way that a simple kitchen ingredient could never allow them to. Vinegar cannot be patented because it is not an invention. It is fermentation, something humans have done for over 10,000 years, and you simply cannot build a $19 billion industry around something that anyone can make at home from apples. So the industry buried this knowledge under decades of advertising, quietly convincing homeowners that only an expensive branded chemical spray could possibly solve a weed problem. But the story gets even more frustrating once you understand exactly what is happening inside that expensive bottle. Stay with me. Here's the actual science behind this, and why it works so completely and so quickly. Vinegar is fundamentally acetic acid dissolved in water. And ordinary household vinegar from your kitchen contains about 5% acetic acid concentration. Horticultural vinegar, sold specifically for outdoor weed control, contains 20% acetic acid, 4 times stronger than the kitchen version. When concentrated acetic acid makes contact with the plant's leaf surface, it strips away the waxy protective coating almost instantly, and without that coating, the leaf cannot retain any internal moisture whatsoever. The plant essentially dehydrates rapidly from the outside in, losing water faster than its roots can ever replace it. On a sunny day above 75 degrees Fahrenheit, visible wilting typically begins in under 2 hours, with complete death of all exposed foliage within 24 hours in most cases. This is not a systemic poison that travels through soil and threatens nearby healthy plants over time. It is a direct contact treatment that only affects exactly what it physically touches, nothing more and nothing less. That is precisely why it never touches your grass, as long as you apply it carefully and directly to the weed itself. Think about every single bottle of chemical weed killer you have purchased for $20 or more, and every subscription lawn service charging you $60 a month for repeated chemical treatments. All of it solving a problem that a single cup of concentrated vinegar and a bit of direct sunlight already solved for 2,000 years. If you have made it this far, you already know more about real weed control than most people spraying chemicals on their lawn every week. Subscribe and share this with someone tired of paying for the exact same weeds to come back every single spring. Now stay with me, because here is exactly how to do this yourself this coming weekend. Purchase horticultural vinegar at 20% strength from any garden center or online retailer, usually around $8 per gallon, and pour it into a spray bottle or a standard garden pump sprayer. Add 1 tablespoon of liquid dish soap for every cup of vinegar, which helps the solution stick to waxy weed leaves instead of simply rolling off. On a sunny and dry day, spray the solution directly onto the leaves and stem of each individual weed, carefully avoiding any contact with surrounding grass. Apply generously until the leaves are fully coated and slightly dripping for maximum contact time. Within 2 hours, you will already begin to see visible wilting taking hold, and within 24 hours, the weed will be completely and visibly dead. For stubborn weeds with deep taproots like dandelions, a second application exactly 1 week later ensures the entire root system is fully exhausted and cannot regrow. I need to be completely honest with you about one real limitation here. This treatment primarily works on the visible leaf surface, so extremely deep-rooted perennial weeds may require 2 or even 3 applications spaced a week apart for truly complete elimination. That is still dramatically cheaper and dramatically safer than a chemical subscription service billing your card every single month indefinitely. A homeowner in Ohio documented her entire yard transformation in the spring of 2023, switching from a $60 monthly lawn chemical service to an $8 gallon of horticultural vinegar. Her yard was completely weed-free within 3 weeks, and she has spent under $30 total in the 2 full years since making that switch. Roman farmers understood this basic principle 2,000 years ago, working entirely by observation. And your own grandmother likely knew a version of this too, pouring leftover kitchen vinegar directly onto the stubborn cracks in her driveway. The chemical industry spent 70 years and untold advertising dollars making an entire country forget something that fermented apples could always do for pennies. If this vault opened to something for you, subscribe and share it with someone still paying every month for a chemical spray that vinegar already replaced for less than $1. The next vault opens soon, and what is buried inside it goes even deeper than this one.